Well, I am headed west. We left early this morning, and by this evening I hope to be in a tree in Ohio. We're leaving Pennsylvania and heading west and hoping to hunt public land on Wayne National Forest in Ohio. I have my friend Eric here behind the wheel. He's taking a turn driving, and like I said, by this afternoon we should be there and we should be in a tree. Now, if you've been following my channel at all, you know that I've already hunted Ohio one other time, and that was on the first week of the archery season. We went out and made a really quick hunt, and actually more scouting than hunting. But now we're going back out for the main event. We turned the calendar November, and now is the time. The temperature is right, and we're hoping to hit some rutting activity. Hopefully, I can get a buck within 30 yards of my Creative XP bow. Now, I want to give you just a little bit of the backstory on how we chose the area we did, and it all started back late winter. Actually, before that, even last fall, Eric and I had hunted in Minnesota. We did some public land hunting out there. Eric ended up with a nice buck, but we decided this year to try something a little bit different. We wanted to hunt with a bow to start off, and we wanted to hunt a little closer to home. That was going to give us the opportunity to do more scouting, and we chose Ohio because we're about 5 or 6 hours away. We can be in Ohio from our house. We started with a total blank slate. We had never hunted Ohio before, but we looked on the maps and picked out some areas, dropped some pins that looked interesting to us. And then in March, we made our first trip out there to actually put some boots on the ground. Hung a couple of trail cameras, and some of those were promising. Found some decent sign that we were excited about. Ended up going back midsummer there, checked trail cameras, did even more scouting, and did some final picking of areas where we want to actually hunt here this fall. Then at the first week of archery season, we went back out just to do a quick early season hunt, and then to do some final scouting to all prepare us for right now. This rut is when we want to try and hit it, and the temperatures are right, and obviously we're in November, so we're heading back out and got to get into the tree and hunt here for a few days. We have a small cabin rented that we're going to be staying in, so that ought to be fun. And like I said, if travels goes well here, we will be in the tree yet tonight. So we'll see you then. I invite you to follow along. This ought to be a fun couple of days, and hopefully we can get into the deer. Well, I got all settled in here. As you can tell, it's kind of breezy, and wood leaves are really coming down off the trees. It's definitely November. We got here a little after lunchtime, or close to lunchtime. Although we both wanted to dive straight in here and get in a tree, we did some scouting, so it took about an hour and a half. Did some scouting. I actually hung another trail camera over some really good sign. There's definitely a lot of deer sign in this area. That was up on top of the ridges. Everybody tells me hunt the ridges, hunt the ridges. Well, I'm down here in the bottom tonight. Not sure if that's a mistake, because there was a lot of sign up high. It's really open up there, where it's very thick down here. The closer you get to the water, or closer in the bottom of some of these hollows, it's very thick. So this is where I'm going to hunt tonight. I'm here. I have maybe 3-4 hours till dark. So, beautiful day. Could happen at any moment, so we're going to be ready and let the deer start appearing. Well, that's going to be a wrap for day one. Couldn't ask for much more. I guess we could. I could have asked for a kill, but that was a great encounter. We're back at the cabin here. Eric's unpacking. He didn't get to see any deer tonight. We got some Rising Crust pizza. That should be cranking here in the oven. And we're soon going to eat and get to bed and do it all over again tomorrow. We're gonna head back into a similar area than what we were tonight. It seemed the signs there. We're in November. It's supposed to get really cold tonight, down in the 20s, so there should be a hard frost. What else could you ask for? So yeah, pretty nice digs here. We got a couple of lofts where we're gonna be able to lay our head, and both of us are pretty tired between the driving today, hiking, scouting, and hunting. We're going to be ready to hit the sack. So I appreciate you following along. Day 2 coming up next. Day 2 of my Ohio public land rut hunt. This is the 11:04 update. Got in here in the dark this morning. We haven't seen any deer yet. It's hard to be discouraged when you're surrounded by such beautiful leaves, and it was good frost this morning, so as soon as the sun came up over and hit those leaves, they just started to fall. It's been steadily hours worth of falling leaves, just softly falling. If you've never experienced that, you don't even have to be a hunter. Just get out in the woods at first light on a cold, frosty morning and watch that sun warm everything up and knock the leaves down. It really is beautiful. My plan is to sit here all day. Actually, out of this morning, I'm in a tree stand. That's simply because I'm planning to do a 12 and a half hour sit today if needed. I just wasn't sure if I'd be able to hang that long in my saddle. So I used my hawk sticks and a hang-on this morning. Got in here around 6:30 and planning on sitting until dark, or until I shoot my buck, whichever comes first. So a little slow going so far. I think it's November 3rd. Yeah, November 3rd. It could happen at any moment though. I hope to be ready when it happens. We made it back to the truck here tonight. I probably didn't do a good job in the tree there, but I saw that same buck again. He is a very nice buck. For the last hour of light, I just caught glimpses of him. He had a doe and just would follow her step for step. He was up in the ridge above me. He kind of went back and forth at least a half a dozen times. And then finally at last light, he came right down towards me. He probably got within 50, 60 yards, just judging by the sound. It was too dark and well past shooting light by then. I just quietly climbed down and slipped out of there, and that's why no interview or anything like that. So it's on to tomorrow. Tomorrow's our last day. We're probably going to hunt another full day. Today was over 12 hours in the stand, but again, I was close to the right spot. Got to saw that great public land buck again. Can I get it done in the last day? Will Eric get it done? Who knows? Please stick around. One more day to hunt. I appreciate you following along. So it's the last day of the hunt here, and that small doe was the only thing I've seen so far this morning. She worked her way up past me here just feeding. It must have took her an hour just to feed it up through here, up the ridge actually. It's amazing how slow they go when you're just feeding along. She was obviously getting ready to go back to bed somewhere up there. So it's mid-morning now, and I think it is time for me to make my move. I originally picked this spot, and I'll turn you around here and show you, because I have a really thick bottom here below me, and I'm sort of on a transition between the hardwoods and this thick bottom. This ridge comes down and meets this, and that's kind of why I picked this spot. There's a couple parallel and deer trails right here between the thick stuff and that ridge, or the finger of the ridge that comes down. And definitely a good enough spot. I saw that nice buck there a couple times the last 2 days, but just not quite the setup. I think I'm going to climb straight up over that ridge and get right up top where that buck was just working back and forth. If I move now, I can be set up by noon or midday. I kind of hate to wait till then, and then hopefully I can catch some midday movement up there, or if nothing else, this evening, one last hurrah. So I'm going to make my move and get up on top of that ridge once and see if that's the right spot or the right call. This is the last hurrah. I made my way up over this ridge, and I'm sitting right on the edge. I can actually look down almost to where I was sitting before. It's about 11:30 now, so it took me a little while. I just snuck my way up here real quietly. And I still got caught with my proverbial pants down. Right over here, behind me. A little bit of a ridge, a little bit of a hollow. So this top runs out, and I was about third stick up. I had one more stick to go. My bow was on the ground with my bow rope, and I was hanging my hawk sticks, and I was on a platform then. An 8-point came walking right up that hollow. It's about 30 yards away, maybe 40. I shot him. Nice buck. Wasn't the big one that I've been seeing, but it's a nice buck regardless. It looked like he would have just stood up, so I don't know if I was making just enough noise, or else he was just out cruising, but he just came up real slowly, never once looked my way. At that point, I had to decide there's no way I could pull my bow up and try and get an arrow on release and everything. I was going to go down because there's just, that hollow was
was enough that I think I could have got on ground level. Maybe called and see if he came up out of there right to me. Then he would have probably been facing head on. But regardless, I just froze, waited a little bit. Dirt just slowly walked straight away from me. So now I got in here and got settled in, got my camera gear up. It's encouraging to see him. That's what happens when you move. If I was down where I was, I would have never saw him anyway. So I have all afternoon now, the next 6-7 hours. And I think I'm in a good spot. I hope. Can I get it done in the last inning of the last day? I hope. This will be fun. I like this spot.
So I ended my Ohio hunt with that small doe just feeding below me and around me there for most of the afternoon. I'm going to give you a quick recap of that hunt in just a bit, but please stick around to the very end here. I just finished up a hunt with my son here back in PA, and it was honestly one of the most incredible hunts I've ever been on, so stay tuned for a sneak peek at the end of this video. But first I want to give you a quick recap of my Ohio hunt. We really did hunt hard and I thought it was a great trip. Obviously we didn't come home with any deer. Eric saw some deer but nothing that he could shoot or nothing he was willing to shoot. I think he had a small buck run past him at one point. He had several small deer, button bucks, doe that were close enough. Chose not to shoot those. And of course I had that great encounter 2 different days with a really outstanding public land buck. All in all, that was a successful trip. We definitely felt like we were in the game, hunting a new state for the very first time. There's always a little bit of a learning curve and just challenging ourselves to go out there and try and put ourselves on deer. I count it as a success. We had a ton of fun. Now we still have tags. Will we make it back out? Maybe here in archery yet or for their gun season? Maybe late season. Who knows? Maybe we'll be eating tag soup. I have no idea what the future is going to hold, but stay tuned for that. But before I end this video, I do want to show you a preview of the hunt that just took place today with my son. Check this out and you're not going to want to miss the next video. Well, I am really looking forward to this morning's hunt. It is 22 degrees, hard frost this morning, and it's November, so the bucks should be cruising. I'm excited, and I'm not even going to be carrying a bow this morning. I'm taking my oldest son out hunting with me this morning. I told him his dad was going to guide him. I'm going to see if I can't call a buck into range, and I'm going to be the cameraman.
But